Okay, we're to I, and it says a sample of tables and graphs associated with the data. Contingency tables, bar charts, histograms, box plots, scatter plots, etc. Well, at the very least, okay, so I've collected my data, and one thing I want to do probably is just look at my predation and my dreaming. Now, one thing I could do, I suppose, is so I could copy this to here, and I could copy dreaming to here to make a nice plot. And I could do this just with the numbers and get some idea here. So, for instance, I could one plot I could make, which it's probably not the best plot, but hey, it's not bad, is if I just do a scatter plot with that, I can see for my different levels of predation, 1 through 5, how much dreaming. And so as I look at that, it does look like there's kind of a downward trend. This 2, though, notice how widespread that is. So I don't know that this is going to have a great answer. But this kind of a scatter plot is fine. It's not great, and you'd want to add titles and explain what's going on here. But remember, these are categories, so they are ordinal, so it wouldn't really make sense to change their order. But at the same time, the space between them, I don't know what that really should be. Should there be an equal amount of space between a 1 and a 2 and a 2 and a 3 and so forth? Well, they're not numerical, so I don't know if that really makes sense or not. But on the other hand, it does appear things are kind of heading down. So I could include, say, just a plot like this. Again, you'd want to title things. This is your dreaming on the y-axis and predation on the x-axis, so explanatory on x, response on y, and there we go. There's something kind of nice. But I'd probably like to look at that for a number of variables. So again, let's see, so get rid of that. And so instead of predation, I could look at things like brain weight, right? So I could copy that, and I'll make a chart of that. And so using that as an explanatory variable, again, it's a confounder, and I could insert a chart. Got 2 numerical variables there, and I finish. And notice that this chart looks like crap, kinda. I'm gonna get rid of that dreaming. It kind of looks like crap because of this elephant out here, and I'm not sure what that is, but then everything gets kind of shoved to the side here. One idea is to make this a very wide plot, and I might be able to see things, or I could make 2 plots out of it. So I could have my one plot showing the elephant and so forth, and then I could come in here and I don't know what'll happen if I just backspace over those. Yeah, it disappeared. So so now that spreads things out a little bit, and without the elephant in there, it definitely looks like there might be a downward trend. And this next biggest one, I think that's the 1320 there, whatever that is. I'd have to go back and see. And so I get those out, and there might be a downward trend here. I mean, certainly there's no data up in here, and so I could show a plot with those two data items in it, but then take them out so we could see things a little better. And again, I could still make this a little wider, maybe as wide as I could get it on my page of my report, but just kind of show that, yeah, it looks like brain weight may have something to do with it. But here's the funny part, right? It's opposite of what I would have guessed. So as the brain weight gets bigger, the dreaming dropped, and as the brain weight is smaller, the dreaming went up. Interesting. Okay. So that's a type of plot I could do. Now another thing I could do is I could take, for instance, the predation and the exposure, and and I could do exposure and check that with dreaming, danger and check that with dreaming. So I could look at all those. And let's look back here. But you should have lots and lots of pictures, I think, looking at the different combinations of things. Possibly histograms. I don't think with these data there's really a big reason to have histograms. Now box plots, sure. Again, I kind of was doing a box plot when I did predation here. Oops. I need to put the dreaming thing back too. Okay, so put back all the dreaming. Control C. Put that back. When I simply made this XY scatter plot, in a way I was kind of doing a box plot. I certainly see the maximum for each of these, so this would be how big the box plot is. But I don't really see where the mean is or the median, anything like that. And so I could do a box plot, to do that, I would simply need to sort these data. So I would go back here. Now be careful if you're sorting things, make sure you sort everything. So see, I could sort these data by predation. And so then I could take these values and go to a box plot. I've got that here, the box plot maker. And I could put in my values for this thing. Twos, all right, twos are all the way there, so this takes a little time, but I think watching this video and realizing that I'm expecting you to truly think about what you need to do with these data if you're going to do a study. So you should, if you do a study, you should look at your data graphically, and so I have all this. Now this is one problem with having a categorical variable here with these levels. I have a lot. It just takes me a little longer, but it's not like it's that long, right? I mean, here's a couple of minutes, and okay, so I've got that, and do this last one in there, and now I'll draw it. And so you see there are my box plots. And again, as I look at this as a ordinal kind of thing, it does, this one's really tall here, but it does look like things are kind of heading down now. But notice these three medians, and I think the circle is the mean. What's the mean here? 2.6. Yeah, so the circle's the mean. Notice the mean, these two are kind of high, these are a little high, and then these two drop down quite a bit. So the mean ends up dropping sharply. Okay, so okay, let's go back here. All right, so I could do a box plot. That's something I could do. Another thing I could do is I could check my various confounding variables with my explanatory variable. And so, for instance, predation and danger, I would think they would go together a lot. And something I could do is I could highlight all those, and again I could sort by predation, but then after that I could sort by danger, just to make it easier to get the data. And what I can see is I could set something up here with a 5 by 5. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where this, say, is the danger and this is the predation. And so I can just sort of look here and see how many 1-1s are there. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8 that are 1s and 1s, and so 8, 1 and 1, and then predation is a 2, danger is a 1, and so there are 3 of those, and I can put that in, 3 of those. Then 2s and 2s, that starts there and goes to here. Okay, so how many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 2 2s, like that. And then there's 2 3 2s. Okay, and then 3 3s. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. And there were, I think, 3 4s. There was 1 of those. And then 4 3s. There are 2 of those. 4 and 3 is 2. And then 4 4s. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. And now we're to the 5s. There's a 5 3. There's 1 of those, and 3 5 4s. So 1 of those, 3 of those, and 5 5s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's a contingency table, and as I look at that, definitely it looks like there's a relationship between predation and danger. We'll get back to that with the analysis, but see, there's a contingency table that just screams out to me that the two variables predation and the confounding variable danger look to be as though they are dependent from the looks of this thing, and so if that's the case, I don't want to use both variables, and I'd start getting rid of some. But see, I need to talk about that. So see, I could show this contingency table in my work, and let's go back to here. So it says sample tables, graphs, and kind of show how you would look at relationships between not just the explanatory variable and the response variable, but the different variables within the work you're doing, and then I would keep going here. I suppose this is, I don't, the way I have this written, I don't really have an obvious place to put this, so I might put it here with I, and that is reducing these variables. And so, I would look at something like this, and where were we? Back here. I would take something like this, and I could pop it into our chi-square template. So I put it in there, and I look at that, and I see, yes, a very low p-value, 10 to the negative 11th. And so what that tells me is, in this, by using these sample plots and so forth, comparing some different variables with my explanatory variable that I'm most interested in, now I can argue that, oh, I don't need to look at danger. Oops, I think I just got rid of two variables at once. I don't need to use danger. I can delete those columns, and then I might do the same thing with exposure, right? I could sort those again. Now, there's all this stuff down here, so I'm not going to sort it. And of course, notice I messed up my columns, and because I deleted something. But you see, I can go through that and do that sort of thing. I could do this. I can make a picture of body weight and brain weight, and insert chart and XY scatter, because my guess is, yeah, look at that. It looks like they are probably associated. Now you got to be a little careful again because of that elephant being out there. So I might get rid of the elephant just to see the picture better. Where the heck is the elephant? Because this stuff's been sorted. So I don't see it. It's there. Oh, here we go. Asian elephant. Right. So again, I could get rid of that for a moment, and now I see this, and I've got this one data point up here. I'm not sure what that is, but I could run a quick linear regression on this and decide, do I think these are pretty dependent? And if I do decide they're pretty dependent, then I could get rid of body weight. Now another thing, we talked about dreaming and numbers and total sleep. At some point you might decide, right, that possibly instead of total sleep you'd like to, or sorry, total dreaming, you should have maybe used proportion of dreaming. And so again, you could have your data that you had gathered this way, but back in the section you could say, well, actually we need to change this data a little bit to be like dreaming divided by total sleep. Where am I? There we go, total. And I could do a dreaming divided by total sleep, like that, and use that data instead. So here's predation, and suppose I use that data. So I'll use this, right, and enter that chart. And I could do a box plot and that sort of thing. But notice when I go to proportion, it looks like there is nothing there at all. So you see, it's the completeness with which you talk about the data. And now it looks like there's nothing there, but again, we want to finish taking care of all our data. So we could possibly get rid of body weight, okay, and we could look at lifespan and predation and so forth, and get this down to, we could look at predation and exposure. If for instance, maybe that one would disappear as well. And what we get this down to is possibly what we need to look at are brain weight, lifespan, gestation, predation, and the ratio of dreaming over total sleep as opposed to dreaming, total dreaming. But again, I could look at both, right? And the point is, you're trying to be complete, okay? So by putting in lots and lots and lots of charts between your confounders and so forth, tables, and because not everything has to be a graphic, a scatter plot, right? I mean, a table down there. So a lot you can do with this. This I should be a very big section in your report. Okay, so we'll stop that.